Hello, beautiful human. Thanks for giving us a click of your time. Miley Cyrus. She has a brand new record out right now. It deserves your ear. It's called Midnight Sky. If you haven't heard it, there's a link in the description below. Miley is going to be hanging out with us at any second. She's going to be in the Zoom room. But I beg, please comment your honest feedback. Leave it below. And like the video if you actually like it. And subscribe, because your subscription means we get to keep doing what we do. I appreciate you. Okay, I think Miley Cyrus is here.
Let's do this. Zach Show.
Yo.
You can see me. That's usually how it goes.
You look gorgeous. Hello.
You make my morning. You're going to make me cry.
No, you look amazing. And I like first of all, I am right off the gate getting exactly what I was getting from the images you've shown of this era of music. It's you with the hair, obviously holding the mic, the big.
Oh, yeah, I even got my microphone.
Oh my God, it's literally spot on.
Yes, this is like seeing, Mickey Mouse behind like the gates of Disneyland one time, One time I got to tell you, one of the greatest things about growing up on Disney was that, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but I'm going to. That's how I always get in trouble. But I always got backstage passes at Disneyland, and one time I saw Peter Pan smoking a cigarette, and it just totally, I think that's what happened to me. I think that's where people ask where did it go wrong, right then and there.
The second you saw a grown man in tight green tights, Peter Pan decked, smoking a nice,
I think if I looked at him and said, like, awesome aesthetic, I'm going to be copying that. But I think there's some years where you could probably see me doing the exact same thing.
So meet Miley Cyrus. Are we meeting a new Miley today than we've met in the past?
You know me. You know I'm going to be the same person that came over and hang out with you all the times that we have. But obviously with, more life experiences and a new story to tell. And I think rather than, it's not like, maybe a complete new saga. This is just a chapter of my life that I feel like, in general, I feel like as a culture, we're all feeling like it's time to express our own narrative and regain that control of who we are and what's acceptable to us and what is not. And this song, Midnight Sky, is really just a reflection of, I think, everyone kind of having this personal kind of, woke moment. I feel like a lot of us are waking up. And, the Midnight Sky, I think is, some kind of a road that feels like it could be nice to take to live with our head in our clouds. I feel like right now as a society, we don't want to live with our head in the clouds. But I think in times, that's maybe why I've created worlds like this, because this is kind of my idea of living with my head in the clouds of my own kind of fantasy in the world that I want to create. So I think that it is a cool message to tell people, like, create the environment and the world that you want to live in. I think that's happening on a very political level right now, but also we can do them, especially during this quarantine time, in these intimate spaces of our home, that we have a place that feels like we've created our own environment, our own head in the clouds. So this is mine.
So I want to start with what puts you to sleep, and then I want to know what wakes you up, because both have to be defining moments, right? You have to fall asleep somehow, and then something needs to trigger your eyes to open.
Well, I think from a level of looking kind of like as a generation, I think, my generation, even the generation below me of my little sister and below that, like we're kind of, we're talking about issues from a lot younger than I was talking about today's the anniversary of Party in the USA. Right now is the anniversary of Party in the USA. And I was thinking about where my head was at when I was performing Party in the USA, and that I really didn't have an awareness or an understanding of what that really meant, of like what our country is actually built on and like what I want to see different. And so there's an idea of, I think as we get older, we do kind of like, we wake up, but I think that's happening from a much younger age than even it happened for me. Like, I think the idea of awareness, but I also think quarantine has kind of been a gift in that way, that all of us have been able to say like, okay, so we keep in the beginning of quarantine, we keep saying, I want to go back to the way it was. Do we actually want to go back to the way it was? Or I don't think so. I think we want to say, this ain't working. Let's restructure. Life is a series of adjustments. Let's go, and not feel rigid.
But you've always loved change. And a conversation we've had before is like people around us are fearful of change. Your dad is one of them. People, they exist. Your dad was still using a BlackBerry.
The same pair of socks until they actually disintegrate. Like he doesn't change. The one thing to say is I, like everyone, I'm not sure I love change because change can be very painful. I have a very healthy relationship and acceptance of it, but I definitely am not like, bring it on, because it freaking hurts sometimes.
But when it hurts, is that how you know it was needed?
Hurt so good, I guess.
And sometimes you could regret the changes. Like, you could.
I don't know if I've ever really regretted a big change because, like, I think that as long as you're going into the person that I think you want to be a person that you're proud of. And sometimes it's good to write down qualities of ourselves on paper and look at them and go, hey, these are the things that, like, because we're kind of taught we're not supposed to do that, or we're like, cocky freaks.
Totally.
Why can we not write down some things that, like, are awesome? My thing that I love about myself is I'm really loyal. That gets me in a lot of trouble sometimes. But I am like crazy loyal. So I love that about myself. Something I don't love about myself is that it can get the best of me and kind of blind me sometimes. And I can be like, people think of me as like, you're so strong. You're this badass. You don't take any. Oh, I can take it. But it's out of loyalty and out of love. And honestly, if I look at those two things, even though they're kind of like opposites, I'd rather pick the loyalty than become kind of like really, really calloused and jaded and live in the shell. So I'm down to have bigger heartbreak sometimes because my heart's so open. That's okay.
The loyalty really resonates with me because were you always loyal, or was loyalty only something formed once you realized what it means to have a true bond with another human being?
I'm just loyal from inherently. I'm inherently loyal. My parents are extremely, extremely loyal. And that's just been totally ingrained in me. My dad is like, it's really to a fault, to like an unhealthy level, but I love it about him. I love it. Our parents sometimes don't give us, all the tools that we need to kind of like survive. Cause I was thinking that the other day, I was like, I am pretty tough, but like life is tough and love is tough. And I was actually saying this morning, I don't know if I have a big future in this, but at some point I want to do a line of realistic children's books so we can actually tell kids. I know it's a little like pessimistic, but it's not pessimistic. It's just realistic. And I think that we're setting kids up for failures when they realize that the dog doesn't actually talk to the cat. Like the dog wants to eat the cat. And we've got to let them know that. Because then you set your kids up for like, I'm going to bring the dog outside and let it talk to my cat. And now look what he's witnessed.
But instead, I want a kid who's going to be like, I'm going to invent a way for my dog to talk so he can one day communicate with my cat.
That's Gen Z. That's why they're taking over the entire world. I'm sure some kid is already working on this, like a collar where the dog can talk. I have a collar for my dog that I love, like punky, like punk gifts, like kind of kitsch, obviously. I have a collar that cusses my dog out when he barks because I don't really want to like zap him or anything, but you can record and there's like already pre-settings and it just tells my dog that he's an asshole every time he barks. And that makes me feel better. And I don't even really care about the barking anymore.
It gets the job done.
It does. It's like, Emu, you were so like such an asshole. And then we move on. And I deal with a lot more assholes than my dogs that do way worse than barking. Like my dog, the worst thing he does is bark. He is loyal. So we love Emu.
But if you could only have collars for all the other assholes you deal with on a daily basis.
Exactly. That's another line that I'm working on right now.
Slow and steady.
Yeah. I am an entrepreneur. Realistic children's books and collars for humans.
I gotta hit pause on our conversation with Miley just for a minute to tell you about Native deodorant. I'm obsessed. Native doesn't just block odor better, but it's actually made better. It's made with ingredients that you and I understand, like shea butter, coconut oil, tapioca starch. Plus, it's vegan. Lather your body up with vegan deodorant. And with 10 different scents, there's going to be a scent for everybody. Plus, they got seasonal scents too. My favorite, coconut and vanilla. When I put it on, I smell like a great day at the beach. It makes me feel confident. Also, scents like lavender and rose, cucumber and mint, citrus and herbal. There's literally a scent for everybody. And Native is risk-free, like totally risk-free. Not only is there free shipping, but if you don't like it, send it back. You get 30 days to try it out. But I promise you're going to like it. 14,000 5-star reviews exist for Native. So if you want to try it out, I'll hook you up with 20% off. Just go to nativedeo.com/Zach or use my name at checkout. Zach, I just want you to smell good. Let's get back to Miley.
Miley, is the mullet an important part of this new era of Miley Cyrus?
The mullet is an important part of family history. My dad actually invented a very specific mullet called the Kentucky Waterfall. And mine, my dad, I asked him if that was the kind of mullet I had. And my dad told me the name. It's something English. Mine's more of like when I cut my hair, I told my mom, make me look like Rod Stewart. That's not a joke. And I called myself Young Rod for like 3 weeks until it got a little longer. But it also does represent that kind of like 70s Cherie Curry, Joan Jett, Debbie Harry, you know, this idea that, again, I think in a lot of cultures, actually, there's a spiritual connection between your hair and removing it and allowing that to be like a shedding of a past. And so anytime I'm evolving, I get out the scissors, you know, that's kind of like, I'm very much I wear my heart on my sleeve, you know where I'm at. I'm pretty open in that way. And it's like, you can usually tell by my hair what's going on.
Let's dive into this music because you mentioned some really important names. Joan Jett, I don't know if you mentioned Stevie Nicks, but you are essentially taking a torch and you're kind of relighting it and then carrying it again. Maybe it's wrong to say that it's gone out. Maybe it's been dim for a little bit because I feel like that's been a style of music that has not necessarily existed, even though we've needed it.
Well, actually, I mean, it's funny that you mentioned that about passing of the torch because I actually had this song blessed by Stevie Nicks because there is a kind of a nod to Edge of 17 in this song. And so I actually reached out to her directly about, you know, this song has your spirit, your magic. I actually wrote this whole kind of message about like, you know, the kind of artist I want to be is the kind of artist that you've been for me. Like, I just hope that I can be that for other people. And like, when I felt lonely, like Stevie Nicks has been there for me, whether she's known it or not. And I feel like I do have the connection with my fans. So this is actually passed from Stevie Nicks, blessed to use. So that was like the coolest thing that ever happened to me.
Because the record is such the perfect balance of past, present, and future. It's so now, but it feels like yesterday, but the best parts of yesterday, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Is there a responsibility at all?
I feel like that's been a really important part of my journey is like, you know, I was going to post this video this week. I got to find it because it's hilarious. It's me playing Smells Like Teen Spirit on the Hannah Montana tour. And all the fans, like, they had no idea what's going on. The best part is like only one mom is singing. All the other moms are like freaking out. But my brother had come to visit me in Australia and my brother was like, he would have done anything. He wanted to be Baby Kurt. And I was like, I'm gonna sing the song for my brother and then just go in. And that's been an important part of my career. Like from the beginning, you know, I think something that's been really, really important when I'm talking about this song and talking about this record is that this is not a new idea. This is really, if we kind of look at my career as an entirety, there's always been that kind of punk rock provocateur. And again, this isn't a new idea. This is just really like, actually what was really funny is me making this record, because this is one of the songs that I feel like is slightly more kind of mainstream pop. And the record actually goes like full on, you know, Wendy O. Williams, Plasmatics, like it goes there. So, you know, I was really just thinking about that and thinking about how, yeah, this isn't a new idea, and that this is just something that I've accepted because I actually used making this record as a threat to my team at one point. Like after the last record, I was like, listen, I'm going to try pop one more time. And if I feel like I just can't sleep at night with it, I'm going to make a rock record. And they were like, well, then why are you waiting? You never wait, just do it. And so I was like, you're right. I don't know why I'm like threatening you with a record that feels like the right next step to me. I just thought, again, you know, I should just kind of keep going with pop and go with what I know, but that's not who I am. So again, I just went and started making a rock record.
But what you've known has really always been what you're doing today, because you hit the nail on the head. Even the videos you were sharing of, you know, you back in the day, dude, 7 Things. There's a ton of songs like Fly on the Wall, like rocked, okay?
Oh my God. At the time in 2007, man, that was like,
Yeah.
That was it. I
Those
smashed a Guitar Hero. Yes.
By the way, when you were talking about Teen Spirit and performing that on the Hannah Montana tour, how cool is it? One, I mean, to have that escape, or you obviously don't tell anybody you're going to do that, or do you? Do you just do?
Only my mom, who's a total metalhead.
Because
My
you know,
mom
like,
is, like totally like my mom thinks that if you asked her what today's date is, she'd say, August whatever, 1983 probably. She's lost.
I mean, like that was I can only imagine, like at the time you were breaking a rule, essentially doing a song like that in front of a massive arena, stadium maybe of kids in Australia.
I never did anything that was any fun and asked first. Nothing I've ever done that's been fun have I asked. So that's the rule. Don't ask.
But do you even beg for
Unless it's
forgiveness?
about, like women, then you always ask and you always respect them.
Amen.
That's the thing
Amen.
to ask, okay?
Will you beg for forgiveness though? Because usually that's the phrase, right? Don't ask for permission, beg for forgiveness.
I don't beg. I don't do begging. I don't beg.
Yeah.
That's not me. But I also know how to smooth things over. I'm smooth like that. I'm actually like I'm like the biggest dork ever and probably scream and have a fit. But I do think that my honesty is part of my charm.
Do you have an album ready to go?
I posted a photo the other day of me and Dua in the studio, and I had her come over and listen to the record, and I wrote like, "Oh, Dua's heard what you haven't yet." And then as soon as she left, I was like, I should tell her that I like really evolve and change really rapidly. So to not think that I played a fake record when she buys my real one, because hoping that Dua Lipa will buy my record, or listens to it in some way, because like, oh, here's this fake record, like, Pop Sabotage or something. Let me play you this thing and then like not put it out and have like something else ready to go.
Which
like
somebody would do.
I just exactly like play something really bad. So she thinks like, oh,
no competition here.
Exactly. And then just like come with the bangers. But I did not sabotage Dua Lipa. I just evolved so quickly that the way Midnight Sky even happened was actually me wanting to beat the record. I'm so nuts that I was shooting a video on Saturday for another record of mine. And on Monday, I went to Andrew Watts and said, I think I could beat the song. And it's like, everyone's booked. You're doing a music video. The treatment is written. I'm like, we can beat it. We start writing it. I haven't even cut the chorus yet. And I'm like, this is it. So I just scrap everything. And I'm like, well, as long as I got a camera and a set, I'm going to adjust and make it go towards this song.
Wow.
So I wrote the song only like 4 weeks ago. But you know why that's worked for me is that's what I've always hated about records, especially when I used to make them in like the early 2000s, is you made physicals. So you had to turn them in months before. So you really didn't have this freedom of, hey, I feel something today, I'm releasing it tomorrow. Because for someone like me that's changing so much, it's important that we just go with it when it feels like it's relevant, because it might not be in the near future.
Totally. And it keeps it exciting.
Keeps it really exciting. All this is a blessing. I do love physical copies of records. I was even saying like, oh, I'm going to send my fans like CDs and vinyls. And I'm like, why? They literally not got it. Like, I don't even know where you play that. The only person that can play a CD in their car is my dad's truck has a cassette player, and he has cassettes. He has the thing where, have you ever seen it where you put the cassette in and your iPod connects to the cassette? He has that. And he only listens to Waylon Jennings, which I'm like, you have on CD. So like, I don't even know the point of this. He's like, well, of course I have it for you guys. I was like, none of us want to listen to anything that we're listening to through a cassette. Like Cardi, WAP doesn't sound the same through a cassette, Dad. Just forget it.
What were you going through when you walked into Andrew Watts and was like, okay, we need to write Midnight Sky. This is what the song needs to be.
I felt like there was a disconnect between like my truth and my narrative and like public perception per usual. It feels like kind of like, being a woman in the industry, there's a lot of like justification I feel like that we have to go through. And so I felt like this was kind of just for like a chronological view of like my last 2 years. I thought it was just really important that I kind of built a bridge over these waters, because like, I feel like I was kind of villainized in a way. For one thing I love is that the line forever and ever no more does not come from a place of like, failure or bitterness. It's that from a young age, we're taught to commit to, hey, this is your best friend forever. And it's like, how many of us like are actually still best friends with the person that we said was going to be our best friend forever? So we have this idea that forever, if not seen through, is a failure. And I just won't really accept that, because like there are just seasonal relationships. And I just also won't accept that like I'm a villain in a situation for evolving and growing past and through a relationship, because like I still look at any relationship that has come and gone with like, I look at it as such a gain, never a loss, just like a total experience. And so I felt like this song was really about retaking back that narrative and saying, no, it's my story to tell. You don't get to tell a story of a 10-year relationship from a couple pictures that you take. Like you don't get the full story from a picture. They say a picture says 1,000 words. I don't really think that it does. It does not.
No,
it does not.
But a record does, right? And
record probably about 1,000.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll count later, but I'm thinking maybe about 1,000.
Fire in the lungs, devil on the tongue. I mean, like, what does that even mean? Is that
was about me saying things that I don't mean and being kind of quick to lash back sometimes, and to I have a really hard time biting my tongue, and it's gotten me in a lot of trouble. And it's something that, as an adult that now knows your words equal your character, like I've worked really, really hard to learn how to control that devil.
Your words equal your character.
For real. You think like, you know, someone's like, well, you said, and you're like, well, I didn't mean it. It's like, then why did you say it to me? Like what you say, what you do equal who you are. And you want to make sure every day, I think, again, like that journal of writing down what you like about yourself and what you don't. And when I write down, like, I don't like that I say things that I don't mean to hurt people sometimes. That is a character. That's a quality of character that I do not want attached to my being. So I work on it. Like, I don't go, well, that's just how I am. No, we got to stop with this is just how I am. This is just how I was raised. No.
Proper change and evolution is possible.
100%, but it's just painful. So get ready.
Speaking of change, are you still not smoking? Because, you know, the prior Miley was a partier, smoker, drinker, and I know you said not really
my mom, for all the weed that I don't smoke, my mom has managed to take over the Kush throne. I do not smoke right now. I'm also not really looking to be like a face of sobriety or someone that, again, like, you know, obviously I'm such an activist. And one thing about biting the devil on my tongue, I feel like my opinions, a lot of the times I've stated as fact, which is a mistake. So I think for me personally, being sober has been just where I've been able to get my job done. And I really needed some clarity. You know, I had some trauma over the past 2 years, and I really needed to deal with it from like a super sane, sober space. And again, like, you know, forever and ever, no more is my new thing. It's like, I'm not committing to, this is how I'm going to live my life forever. But for right now, that feels good. And if it follows through into a longer period of time than expected, that sounds good too.
Miley Cyrus, you gave me goosebumps. I have a deep, deep appreciation for you and for the art you put out here into the world.
I have a deep appreciation for your shirt.
Love. All dogs. All dogs. And by the way, you have a smash record. So, yeah.
I mean, you're kind of in control of that, so loop it.
Yeah.
Miley, can I ask you one dumb gossipy question? And you can just say it off if you need to. I saw the fans were very excited that you followed Nick Jonas on Instagram.
I've been following Nick Jonas on Instagram, and have you ever gone and looked and seen that all of a sudden, like, that you've been unfollowed or you've unfollowed someone and like didn't mean to? Has this ever happened to you or no?
Yes.
My thing unfollows people sometimes.
Yeah.
And people hit me up and say, why did you unfollow me? And I didn't unfollow them. I think like a little saboteur like goes into my phone and like unfollows and follows people for drama. So I've been following Nick since the throwbacks on my Instagram like a year ago. And I had a very epic photo of me coming out of an airport in an awesome vintage Jonas Brothers tee. And we've been following each other since then. So, yeah. I'm going to get one of those collars for you.
People collars coming your way. Yo.
Don't threaten anyone with a good time, but yeah.
Love and appreciate you, Miley Cyrus.
You guys too. Thank you so much.
Peace.
Bye.
Bye. Hey, beautiful human. Thanks for watching our full interview, but I get it. Like, a full interview is a lot. So we got a clips channel. We don't expect you to watch the full thing anymore, so we just gave you the highlights. Please subscribe and notifications and all that stuff. Okay, cool. I love you.